Korea pulls out of North Korea pulled its staff out of an inter-Korean liaison office Friday, Seoul said, weeks after leader Kim Jong-un's summit with U.S. President Donald Trump ended without agreement. The office in the northern city of Kaesong was opened in September as the two Koreas knitted closer ties, but the South's Vice Unification Minister Chun Ha-sung told reporters Pyongyang had notified. The decision had been taken in. The South's President Moon Jae-in was instrumental in brokering talks between the nuclear-armed, sanctions-hit North and Washington, Seoul's key security ally. Moon has long backed engagement with the North to bring it to the negotiating table, and has been pushing the carrot of inter-Korean development projects, among them the restarting of an industrial zone also in Kaesong and lucrative cross-border tourist visits by Southerners to the North's picturesque Mount Kumgang. But the sanctions currently in place effectively block their resumption, while a preliminary study for a plan to renovate the North's decrepit rail system was repeatedly delayed. Questions were even raised over whether supplies provided to set up the liaison office were a sanctions violation. The failure by Kim and Trump to reach agreement in Hanoi last month on walking back Pyongyang's nuclear program in exchange for relaxation of the measures against it has raised questions over the future of the wider process. In Vietnam, both sides expressed willingness to talk further, but it has since emerged that Washington presented Kim with a wider definition of what it regards as denuclearization. A senior Pyongyang diplomat told reporters last week that the North was considering suspending nuclear talks with the U.S. Analysts said Friday's decision could be a sign Pyongyang felt Seoul was unable to exert sufficient influence on Washington. With it, the North has recently summoned several of its top diplomats around the world back to Pyongyang. Chong Song-chong, a senior researcher at the private Sejong Institute, said that move and Friday's pull-out could signal that it was hard. In his New Year speech, a key political event in the North, Kim said without giving details that Pyongyang might see a new round-the-clock consultation. Seoul sought to keep the door open to more contact. The facility opened 3 months after Kim signed a vague pledge at his first summit with Trump in Singapore to work towards denuclearization. It stands in a city that was initially part of the South after Moscow and Washington divided Korea between them in the closing days of World War II, but found itself in the North after the 1950–53 Korean War, which ended in an armistice rather than a peace treaty. The 4-story building includes separate northern and southern offices and a joint conference room. When it opened, Seoul's Unification Ministry said it would become a round. But the Hanoi summit took place without the usual several rounds of preliminary negotiations between lower-rank officials, and broke up without even a joint statement. A top security advisor to Moon Chung-in, told AFP last week that Pyongyang needed to take actual. The South's presidency held an emergency meeting of the National Security Council after the North pulled out of the liaison office on Friday.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.